welcome back to another episode of our Warrior Pod. This is a podcast created by students for students to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, to have fun. So our special guests, Jeravon, Donovan, and Jaina. Jeravon and Donovan from the Warrior Center and Jaina from Campus Reg.
Hey.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you
Well,
for having us.
how are we doing today?
I am great. Fantastic. Okay. It is Friday. It's been a long week. Let's finish it off strong.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
Yes. And how are you guys doing today?
I am also great. I'm just ready to get started with the weekend.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm doing great as well. Just been doing stuff.
Absolutely. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the lifestyle of a student worker. So knowing that you guys have getting to work at the school while also taking classes. So kind of getting in depth of what motivates y'all. How do you cope with everything, with the stress of having all these assignments and just in general. So are we ready to get started with the questions?
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Awesome. Thank you again, y'all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put the questions there so whoever can answer at what pace, that's also great. So with the first question being, how long have you guys been a student worker at 10 UCT?
So I have been working for Campus Rec since May of 2021. So that was about 2 semesters ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 semesters ago. It was during this, leading into the summer, I remember. But it has to be around May.
I think so, because I think that's when I first met you, and you were at the student orientation in June, and we were like, oh my God, yes.
That was around that time.
Yeah, exactly. It was literally... So, kind of end of May, starting to June. Yeah,
yes.
That's where we met.
Of course. I'm so glad I met you.
I'm so glad I met you. Oh my God. We can go on days about it. But yes, on to you guys.
And so I'm a student worker at the Warrior Center, Student Success, Equity, and Inclusion. Mm-hmm. I've been working there for about a year and a half. So I started in fall 2020. Mm-hmm. And
That's incredible.
My role. Oh, and my main duties are testing center to help the students take tests and helping students get their accommodations.
Absolutely.
I also work at Warrior Center for Student Success, Equity, and Inclusion. And I've been working there since spring 2021 as well, about the same time as you, Jaina. Mm-hmm. And so I'm fairly new at it, but we also do proctorization of tests. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just being a student worker and just, being within the community, you get to meet new people, you get to be around. And that's why I think having y'all could give other people who in the future would want to work as a student worker, they would know what to expect. But on to our next question. Share a time where you learned a lesson as a student worker that can be beneficial to other students.
So I don't have I can't think of a particular moment right off the bat, but from what I've learned, a really valuable lesson is that people that work here too, outside of Campus Rec, in other departments, they're always going to reach out or, for help. Or you might see something that they need help with. And sometimes it's just, what I've learned is to always help out when you can, when you see that someone needs help. Because in the end, we all work as a collective. So whatever we're doing on campus or whatever somebody needs help with, it's really for the community. And so if you can help them with it, I think that's the lesson to be learned from, is that everybody needs help. And if we could just take a few moments out of our day, we'd really just be making everyone's job kind of easier.
Absolutely. It's a great one.
So a lesson I have learned throughout being a student worker is being able to communicate with people and understanding what they're trying to say. And that's a major thing I've learned throughout this whole process of me as a student worker. I've learned how to communicate with people more confidently and basically building that confidence. Absolutely. And being able to talk to people without being shy or hiding yourself away from them. So customer service was a big thing that
absolutely,
I learned.
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. So mine is similar to his, probably the same. But when I first started, I was more worried about me not being able to fulfill the responsibilities that my boss gave me. But as time went on, I learned exactly what my roles are as a student worker. And I think gaining those new experiences and that knowledge about office work, for my case, will really help me in the future.
For sure. I definitely understand and can relate to all of you guys. And to relate to you, Donovan, I was going to say, because I'm also a Blue Coat Ambassador, so a student worker as well. When we did that student orientation, I think that had gotten me to speak up more and talking in front of so many people. And now after that, I went to Disney. I had to do a lot of presentations there as well. So I think just being part of a student worker while going through your classes, taking all those, that can definitely be a beneficial thing. Just adding on to that. But thank you guys again, and we'll be moving on to our next question, which is, how do you balance both work and school as a student worker?
I don't. No, I'm just kidding.
You do though. I see you working, and I also see your Snapchat stories. You're working and you're working on your classes, and she also comes here during the weekends to do her schoolwork. So you're perfect.
Okay, so I'm just gonna be completely honest. Some weeks are definitely easier than others because it just really depends on what the workload is for my classes that week. So if I see that something can get done during the first half, which would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then I'll get it all done by Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, I can really dedicate my time to focusing on whatever needs to be done with work. But I think the balance comes from being on campus all the time, because if I ever did need to do work, I could just come, go down to the OC in Heritage and work on my programs or events that need to be planned. And that literally kind of just takes maybe an hour or two of my time just to really get it down. And then I stay in there and do schoolwork. But as long as I'm here, I know I can do both because I'm focused. There's a goal, there's a mission when I'm at school. I'm not just lollygagging around. There is stuff to be done. And so you kind of just have... Sometimes my brain is really going at 1,000 miles per hour, but it's one thought here, one thought over here, but it all meshes together to where at the end of the week I get it done. And it's a lot of sacrifice to be here on the weekends, but I think that's when you really have to make the biggest sacrifice of wanting to do what you want to do on the weekend and just be here to do schoolwork. So in the end, you always have to keep in mind of what your future goals are and what the long term is. So that's how I balance it.
And you're incredible. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because I needed that motivation. Just putting everything on the side. I'll do it later. But that's definitely a fight with yourself too. Knowing that this is gonna be your future and you gotta work for it. So thank you for that. Anything from you guys?
Yeah. So the way I balanced it my first year here, so I had a planner and like
Avid.
from Avid. Yeah. I literally first week of school I went through all the syllabi, and I just went ahead and planned my whole year out. The work, like Jana mentioned, I do my schoolwork sometimes during work, and that kind of helps me out. Absolutely. But I would have to come sometimes on the weekends to do those major projects, just so I can stay focused.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a lot of distractions.
Tell me about it. Absolutely. Anything for you?
So for me, the way I balance it is I also do it during work hours. So I do have that time where I dedicate it to just working on my homework and stuff and assignments. And yeah, that's basically it.
No, absolutely.
I try to like keep my weekends free to just do stuff that I want to do. So
I feel that. That's me, but I think I need to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like weekends aren't, if your goal is something bigger,
Mm-hmm.
then I think weekends should be like how Jaina and
Yeah.
you guys do it. Like, you should put your priorities.
Yeah.
Like, school is still within the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's a weekend
Yeah.
doesn't mean you go to Dallas, Houston. Because that's what I do. On to our fourth question. It's not really a question. It's more like a sharing a quote. So, a quote that motivates you guys through it all.
So one thing I always keep in mind for motivational purposes is always be better than who you were yesterday. Because I think I've always had this attitude of striving for perfection every day, but sometimes I can't do that. I mean, it's not that I can't do that, but really I put too much pressure on myself to be perfect, but there's no such thing. As long as I did what I had to do and I did my best at it, I can be proud of that. I don't have to constantly tell myself like I didn't do enough or I could have done better. You always have that opportunity tomorrow. But sometimes we don't have that. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. But if it is, always be better than who you were yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually always had that quote in my mind as well. Because at the end of the day, you're not competing with anyone else but yourself.
Very true.
And whatever you were yesterday, just acknowledging what you didn't do and then knowing that what can be better and being the better again on a present day.
Yeah, and like another note on that is we are our worst critics.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We criticize ourselves more than
Anyone
anyone else.
Literally.
So sometimes you have to appreciate yourself, love yourself, and be proud of how far you've come.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Only you know your
limit.
Exactly, your limits, your situations, and all the struggles that you've had to go through.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a quote that I always try to remember is by Winston Churchill. So he mentioned success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And so to me that really like motivates you to keep going, because I too sometimes can be a perfectionist of some things, and I always try to remember that, hey, maybe like I can probably like take a step back and just be grateful that the work I'm doing right now is enough, I guess. Although I never want to be enough, but I know you want to be.
You know, just the thought on your mind.
Yeah.
You're still enough.
So the quote that resonates with me mostly is don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. That's what I use. Yeah, that's what I've always used before.
Yes.
So like being able to do more than what you think you could is what helps me motivate myself even further, because there are times when I'm like, oh, this is the goal, that's it. But I'm like thinking about it, I always think like, what else can I do to help achieve that goal, even like make it more better, kind of. So being able to just do that helps me.
Those are some great ones, all of y'all. Thank you. I think just doing this and talking through, it's like 3 different perspectives. It's motivating me. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. And I hope, all of our students also listen to it and they can get a little, even if it's not a lot, but a little boost of motivation that they need. Because this is important.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And we'll be moving on to our next question. What are some of your favorite ways to de-stress from studies and work? So it could be anything like self-caring, things you do to kind of de-stress?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have not been doing this semester, which I'm trying to get back into, is hiking. Because hiking is really a big thing for me. I enjoy it a lot. I like to be outdoors, and I think nature is really peaceful. So when I do go hiking, it's kind of that me time, and that's how I feel, less stressed, because I'm outside, the sun is shining, the birds, you just
chirping.
Yeah, the birds chirping.
Yeah,
You hear and you see everything, and you kind of just take a step back from the chaos, and it's a different scene, it's a different feeling, and so that's what really helps me clear my head when I feel like there's just way too much going on.
Absolutely.
For me, it's multiple things.
No worries.
But the one thing I have started doing was running or jogging. And whenever I get in my head, I just like, I don't know, it's just whenever I run, I guess the stress kind of like...
Is it like that runner's high?
Yes.
Like when you just keep running, but you don't really know how far you want to run?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is that. And the other thing I like to do though is like I like to make plans with my friends because I don't know, sometimes I just need to socialize sometimes. And we actually have movie nights as a family. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
Family is very important, especially during all of your rough times. At the end, family is where it's at.
Yeah. Like I know my sister because she's in College Station.
I know Elena.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, she's in College Station, and like whenever she comes down, she always wants to like just get away from all her work. 'Cause she's constantly on it. But I'm like, hey, let's watch a movie, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. And so,
That's awesome.
I mean, it's probably bad staying up late at night watching movies.
No,
Yeah.
it's never bad. So the last podcast that I had with Dr. Patrick, she had mentioned like, celebrate the little things, and it has been on my mind. So even if it's like a little thing like movie and you stay up watching it all night long, you're still celebrating it. Like it probably isn't like a celebration, but the fact that you're taking your time to put all the stress away and just being with your family, watching a movie, so it's okay, celebrate it.
Yeah. So the way I de-stress,
It's all
so the way
good.
I de-stress, so I also like nature too. So some days I'll just like look out at the window and just enjoy the scenery. And I do step out like outside and just let the air flow and stuff and just feel it. And then I also play video games.
Yes.
That's a major one for me. So like whenever I'm frustrated at the end of the week, I just play a video game on Saturdays specifically.
Saturdays are for video games.
Yeah. So I'll play video games just to de-stress and like.
No, Saturdays
Just
are
enjoy
for
myself.
de-stressing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So to our next question, this is a very, very distracting topic, or the question that's going to be in this generation at least. So how can social media impact your daily life?
Oh, that is a good one though.
Yeah.
So I think social media can be overstimulating to the point where it just feels exhausting because we spend endless amounts of time whether it's on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, I'm probably forgetting something. Did I say Instagram? Well, anyway,
You're right.
I meant like all the social media
Now it's the
platforms.
TikTok.
Yeah, it's literally all you have to do is swipe up.
Yeah.
So you're constantly scrolling, looking at all the content that you could possibly be interested in. And to me, I think that can be really distracting from what you're doing or what you should be doing, basically. And I think a lot of the times it messes up your time management skills because you get so wrapped up in what the rest of the world is doing and what you could be doing instead of what you should be doing.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of times we get distracted by that, and then we're like, wow, what did we accomplish today besides scrolling on TikTok and watching cool stuff? But I think it can be a good thing when you limit the time you spend on it. So sometimes I'll look at my phone and I'll just scroll, and then I look at the time and I'm like, okay, it's been 5 minutes. I need to put my phone down. I need to look at my laptop again and focus on what I was doing. And so I think if you have that good balance to where you can limit the amount of time you spend on it, you'll realize that it works out that way. But some people just can't do it that way, and they have to really just put it away and not look at it until all of their stuff is done for the day. And sometimes I can do it that way, but
That's incredible.
So for you, it's most likely like mental breaks, kind of.
Yeah.
It's more like mental break.
Yeah, because if it's like sometimes I'll choose in between social media or just taking a walk or getting a breath of fresh air, because sitting inside a room all day kind of gets very mundane and tiring. So I have to. And even, like, I have a watch too, and it says, "Okay, Jana, you need to stand up." I'm like, "You're right, I do need to stand up." So yeah,
that's good though. You have like balance of everything, not just social media, because I struggle with that. I'm like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and I feel like I get into that rabbit hole so much, and it's not healthy at all.
And in a sense, it almost feels like we have to keep up with social media because we don't want the world to forget about us, and we still want to be relevant.
There you go.
Yeah, and I feel that's what it is sometimes. And lately, I've actually been trying to not be on social media as much as I used to because I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I've been busy.
Absolutely.
I've been working on myself. I've been trying to get closer to my goals, and so none of these people on social media are going to help me towards that goal. So I don't even know why I would even spend that amount of time on social media.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think this is perfect for me to hear it from, my peers. Sometimes social media is looking at other people and getting influence, but then you hear it from all of you guys in real life, not just who's behind the screen.
Yeah.
So that was definitely beneficial to me. So thank you. And to you guys.
Yeah, I think that social media can be a distraction, definitely. But for me, it's kind of different. I see social media as a way to talk to family members because I haven't seen them in a while. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I use social media for. I don't really like post a lot or anything like that. But I do try and keep up with friends and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, who texts me? I'm gonna be honest, I'm a really bad texter. Like, sometimes people think I'm ghosting them, but I don't mean to ghost them. I just have a lot on my plate. I'm trying to get it done. So I'm just like, yeah, hey, how you doing? And they're like, they respond back. And sometimes I forget that they responded back. And I'm like, shoot.
20 days later.
I know. Sometimes it could be like a month later. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, but for me, I do use it as a way of communication. Yeah, not so much as a what's it called? Like, I don't know how to say it. Like,
not to
social,
to get engaged.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly.
Like what I unfortunately sometimes do, posting, and I think it's weird to say, but it's almost like you want a validation from other people who are behind the screen to know your worth, which I'm saying it in front of everyone, but that's the reason why I got so caught up in social media, and I've realized that how much of a distraction and how toxic it is. And that's why I was like, I need to put this question so I can see people that were in the similar situation can what they have to say. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, for me, social media, I don't really. So I have social media, but I don't actually use it.
Okay.
So I just use it to as my brother says. I use it the same as him, and I just text people. But other than that, I'm not a fan of TikTok, to be honest.
Thank God.
I'm the odd one out.
Yeah, my sister sends me TikTok, and my brother's like, ha ha ha. So I mostly fake that I understand what they're saying, but then I'm like, oh well. But other than that, there are some friends who do have social media that I try to help because they're constantly on it. I'm just like, you should just take breaks and stuff from social media and just think about yourself more and just self-reflect on what you can do better to improve yourself.
And what they want.
Yeah, what they want. What's their main goal in what they want to do.
I did want to add though that I think in this generation it kind of is very toxic, as you say, because I've seen it in middle schoolers and high schoolers where I think just in Killeen when school first started. There was there were a lot of incidents where kids were doing stuff that was reflecting what kids were doing on TikTok, and it was totally unacceptable school behavior, and I think that really messes with the kids' mentality about what school is for. It's not, yes, it's a place to be social and make friends and fit in, but at the end of the day, I think sometimes they forget why they even go to school because of TikTok, what their purpose is, and they get influenced so easily. I think social media can be a really powerful tool for education, for learning, but when people take it to the extreme and they just, stuff on social media isn't regulated, so anybody can look at anything. But I know a lot of people that use it for learning purposes. Like, you can literally find anything on YouTube now and learn it, and there's some TikToks that are DIY, so you do it yourself. All you have to do is go buy the materials, and I like that. Absolutely. I do like that.
Right.
But I think it's just really how you interpret things, and kids are vulnerable to that because they're still at that age where they don't really know how to make wise decisions for themselves, and they just try to follow the crowd.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, thank you guys for that. All right, guys, you know what they say, when you're having fun, time just goes by. But we have come to an end, but we do have one last question, though. This is going to be our last question. So, if you could go back in time, what would you do differently when it came to balancing both work and school?
So for me, if I would go back, I'd say so I mostly focus on work, and then I'd have the ROTC program as well. And so I do extracurricular activities outside. And one thing what I thought was something that I could have done more of is basically done community service. So basically helping others in the Killeen Community Center. So that's something I've always wanted to do. I've done some of those, but not to the point where I try to reach my goal at.
Understandable.
Mine's the same, similar, I guess, to Donovan. But I do, if I could go back in time, I'd probably try and create a plan, a more detailed plan, and so I can see where my time is mostly spent. So I can see my time is mostly spent, and so then I could also actually plan other things and actually go to events that the school hosted, because I know I missed some because I was focused on studying.
I think if I could go back in time, I would not procrastinate so much, because that really messed up the balance between work and school. Is when I think I have time and I keep putting things off because I want to do other things, and then I end up kind of just being upset at myself, why did you wait till the last minute to do it when you had all this time to do it? So if I could go back, I would definitely not procrastinate as much as I did, because I don't think you would get behind, if you just prioritize the important things. And like you said, have a planner, use it. That really helps you plan out your days and what needs to be done, so that for the next day, there's a whole different goal, and you're not backtracking on yesterday's activities or assignments that you needed to complete, which a lot of the times is kind of where I'm at. I'm still working on it, but it's getting somewhere.
I think we can all relate to that.
We're not the only students that procrastinate, okay?
Everyone within the whole college, middle school, high school.
There's levels to it.
I think they can all relate to this. To kind of adding on to my own, if I could go back in time, I would definitely just focus in school and not put myself into so many extracurricular activities that I have done. To be honest, I hope it would benefit me in the future, but in some ways it has definitely backened me down a little bit. Not saying that doing extra jobs or anything that's a bad thing. It has definitely taught me stuff, but if I could go back in time and restart the whole process, I would definitely just focus in school and probably have one job rather than 2 and 3 at the same time, because that was not the best move.
I do want to add on to what you just said, because that's a really good point that you just made, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize it either. But I think maybe if people created more healthy boundaries for themselves, I think it would make a lot of their lives easier too. Absolutely. Because there's a lot of instances where people don't want to say no to somebody because you would just feel bad.
Exactly.
You want to help them, you want to be a part of it, but sometimes you find yourself kind of just like, no, I can't do that. In your head, you're like, no, I can't do that because I have my own stuff to worry about.
Yeah.
But then you don't want to let people down, so you're just like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I got your back.
Literally.
And so you kind of keep pushing off your own needs on the back burner, and then it ends up piling up, and you're looking at it from your shoulder, like, how did I let it get to that point where I'm helping everybody else but yourself. Yeah. And so I think that's another big thing, is creating healthy boundaries and just learning to tell people no in a polite way. It doesn't even have to be rude. Some people will take it that way, but as long as you always keep yourself first, because everybody has their own stuff to deal with, and I'm not saying like just not help people at all, but if you don't have that time and if you can't do it, then you can't do it. Yeah. People will understand, or people will get over it eventually,
Absolutely. So yes, burnout is real.
Yeah.
I was burned out when I had 3 jobs and doing full-time load schooling. And then I just crashed, and I was like, I have no motivation to do anything else. I just need a break. And the only energy that you end up having is the survival energy, and nothing else seems to interest you at all. You just want to go home and sleep. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, please prioritize and don't overdo yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Limits. Yeah. Exactly. Take care of yourself. Well, thank you guys for being here. This was amazing.
Thank you so much for having us. It was fun. It was a good discussion.
Yeah. Thank you all. Do you guys have any social media of your, the Warrior Center or Campus Rec that you would like to tell everyone to follow?
Oh, I work at this Warrior Center. So please follow the Warrior Center, which is at CT Warrior Center.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you guys can follow Campus Rec on Discord, and it's called CT Campus Rec. And so if you're into, or you just want to know more about the activities and the events that are going on, you can definitely follow us on there. We are also on Twitter. I believe it's called TAMU-CT Campus Rec, so you could also follow us on Twitter. Also, if you just want to send an email, you could find that on the TAMU-CT page under, I believe, Campus Rec. So if there's any, or if you really want an answer to your question, just come to the fitness center in Heritage Hall, and 9 times out of 10, my name is Jaina. I will be there. I can answer your question.
Awesome. Thank you all for listening, and follow us, the TAMU-CT SCE, on Instagram and Facebook, Texas A&M New Student Programs, and tune in every other Monday for another new episode. Have a good day.